quick wow, I can't talk. Quick disclaimer before we get started. The first 20 minutes of our podcast, this episode, corrupted the file. So sorry for the abrupt start. It's like in the middle of a story, but still like an hour, 15 minutes, and we all really enjoyed this episode. So enjoy. Okay, we're back. I know that was 2 seconds for you. That was really confusing for us. Does anyone remember where I was? I kind of lost my train of thought.
You were smoking with Mike.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
not yet.
I remember where I'm at. Okay.
Mike couldn't drive.
He couldn't drive. So I got in my car. I was driving what we called it my Ryan, the Ryan at the time.
Ryan was a
Xterra.
good car.
It was a good car. And I picked him up at QFC. He longboarded there. And
The longboarding days were crazy.
yeah,
Longboarding days.
they were crazy.
nuts.
Picked him up in the parking lot, and we drove back to my grandparents. We walked through the front door, walked straight outside, and do a fire. They have a little fire pit in the backyard. And we were by this fire. We set up a couple chairs. He's like, "Okay, you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've never smoked before." And I was such a noob with everything. I'd only ever used like a barbecue.
I'm about to open a shilling.
Cool. Thanks for interrupting me.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
I'd only ever used like a barbecue lighter, so I didn't know how to use like a flick, like Bic lighter. And I had a jammed finger. I used to play baseball, and I had a jammed finger, so I used that as my excuse as to why I couldn't use the lighter. So I was like, "Hey, my finger's jammed. Could you light it
Bro, I
for me?"
was scared.
And because I didn't
was
want him to
nervous.
see me fucking just struggling with this big lighter. A 16-year-old not able to use a big lighter.
Did you say 50?
16. I said 15,
Wow.
but anyways, we're sitting around the fire, and it's just a pipe. And I took my first hit, and like nothing. I pass it back to him. He takes another hit, and he hands it back to me. And I'm like, "We're going again?" He's like, "We haven't even finished the bowl, dude." Okay, take a second hit. Like, hand it back to him, and I remember it was like out of a fucking movie. He's like talking to me like while he's taking his third hit off the bowl, and like it starts getting super echoey and distant and faint. I start not being able to hear his words, and I'm just staring into the fire, and I'm watching the flames dance, and I'm like disassociating, and I couldn't hear like a word he was saying, and I just remember thinking to myself, "Is this weed?" And I get
Is this what it's like?
brought to by Michael snapping in front of my face. I said his full name, but it's close to Mike. It's fine.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
one can
Michaels.
guess.
I'm pretty sure I've said it before too, but I get
Yeah.
brought back to by him snapping right in front of my face, and I like jump. He's like, "You good, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he hands it to me again, and we take one more puff, and then we let the fire die. And by this point, it was like 11:30, and it's a school night. So, my grandparents only have one bed in their house, and it's a king bed. So we're like, "Okay, let's go to bed."
And kitties. They have
And-
kitties as well.
They do.
They do,
And
in
we-
fact, have kitties.
We just
yes.
lined pillows down the center of the king bed and shared the king bed. Because, like,
Yeah.
still, like, I'm not that close with Michael. Like I said,
No, yeah.
he is the annoying kid that's in front of me. He just smoked me out, and now we're sleeping in the same
I
bed.
was gonna say like we'd crash in a twin, but that's because we've known each
We
other.
know each other
Yeah.
since we were babies.
We don't
Yeah.
care. Oh,
But
you-
yeah,
you
so
do, yeah.
we lined the center of the bed with pillows and whatever, and I remember...
I'd sleep with Nikki
like-
any day.
Okay.
real. I was just like... when you lay down, when you're stoned, it, like, the body height
Elevates.
Yeah,
elevates.
it
and
elevates.
I just started floating above the bed, and I'm like, holy shit, this is weed. This is crazy. And I was just thinking to myself, like, this is really fun, but I can't make this a regular thing. Like, this
Whoops.
is just once in a while, And the next day I woke up, and I was still stoned. And I was, like, freaking out because I have to go to school, and I'm a little high still. And
A little bit of the marijuana is still talking.
my
I want him to shut up.
my English class was second period, so it was fairly early in the morning, and Michael sits right in front of me, and he turns to me, and he's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "I'm still feeling it, dude. I'm still high." He's like, "Dude, you're crazy." And I'm like, "No, it's not placebo. Like, I am stoned." And anyways, I go through the entire school day still feeling stoned, and I had a baseball game that afternoon at 5 p.m. I show up to the game, and I still feel high.
Jesus
And I go
Christ.
through this game, like the first 2 innings of this game, I still feel stoned. And I get back to my house, and then I go immediately to my grandparents. It's like 9 p.m. or so, and I get another snap from Michael. "Hey, can I pull up? I'm like, sure. And then I was like, I think Devin was there too. He was already there, or I had texted him, and then Devin shows up, and we smoked again that night. Like, oh God, this is
the downfall.
This is happening. This is starting, and that was the start of it all. Yeah, you're good, I believe. So, oh fuck, I don't think you're 3.
Hey, it's Nikki.
Oh yeah, you must be 2. Yeah, Nikki, give me a talk.
Hello.
This is. Oh no, you are. Okay.
Trevor
okay.
is 3 then.
Trevor is 3. Well, this is extremely unprofessional. We're sorry about that, guys.
It's a new program. Semi-new.
Yeah, semi-new. We're figuring things out. You know, it's a new setup. I do have one more weed-related story, but I don't want to tell it right now. I've had a lot of talking time. I want someone. You can change the subject. You can tell your first whatever.
I will say that.
Oh wait, I almost forgot. We have Woman of the Week to do before anything.
Oh,
we get that out of the way.
Oh yeah. Right.
But I genuinely don't have a story for this week. We talked about it a little bit prior. Crawford said he's cool with taking it over this week, so take it away, Crawford. Woman of the Week by Crawford.
Woo! All right.
Oops, this one. My bad.
This is a girl I've known for probably since 2 summers ago. Super cool. You all know her name, Aubriana.
Okay.
Maybe you don't actually.
I don't know who that is, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We've talked for a long time. We're super close. And shout out to her because she's a homie. She's number one. Like, we have feelings for each other.
Yeah.
But we understand that it's not going to work between us.
For sure. Wait, I can't talk right now. I'm muting myself.
Charlie said, for sure. And I don't know, it's really great having someone like that we can still have fun with each other, acknowledge those feelings, but like support each other through other relationships as well.
Sick. That's awesome.
And yeah, Brianna, you're awesome.
Shout out.
Yeah.
That's
nothing
it?
too crazy.
That is a good thing to have, because like,
yeah. See you in 2 weeks. Can't wait.
I don't think there's ever. I hate when people say like, oh, I'm looking for the one. I never think there's a one. So like,
really?
That girl for you was your one at one point, and shit obviously didn't end bad with you guys, and you guys are still chill. So like, you guys still like each other. There's like remnants of those feelings for each other still, but you just know not to acknowledge them in that way anymore, because it's like, this probably won't work. But we had our fun.
We still acknowledge them, and we tease each other about it all the time.
Man, I just want to say that was super poetic, Nikki.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I semi-agree with you there that I think that there is a one, but I think there's more than multiple ones. There's 8 billion people in the world. There's more than one person that's perfect for you.
Yeah. Every relationship is going to be valuable in some way.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. There's always a learning curve, right? There's always something you learn from a relationship, something that you fix by the next time you're in one, right? That's real. Again, I'd like some other people to talk, because I've taken up this whole episode, but
I'll shout out.
No.
You did miss Woman of the Week, but it wasn't anything juicy.
There was no crazy story. We don't.
It's it's hard to guys. You got to stop stressing us out about bringing you a new Woman of the Week every week. You know how hard it is.
Maybe it's a dry week.
Woman of the Week.
Maybe it's a dry couple months.
You got you. Yeah.
It's drought season.
Drought season. Yeah.
Charlie's grandparents' house was awesome.
It was that was like the start of partying in high school.
They don't know that they might know. I don't know. Have you told them?
They might have an idea, but
there has to be an idea, because there's been times they asked me to house sit, and we just raided their liquor cabinet. I feel so bad now that I'm grown up, but like, we were 15, 14,
we needed it.
16 when Trevor started being around. I mean, like,
glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, there's crazy stories from both of the friend groups at the grandparents' house.
I wanted to talk about the first time I got stoned.
100%. Yeah, I would love to stay on this topic.
We're on that theme. I want to talk about the first time I got just blasted into oblivion. So, it was me and Devin, obviously. And so I had just met this guy. I was going through, kind of a rough time my sophomore year. I don't know if any of you guys,
Oh,
remember.
I noticed.
You noticed?
Everyone
Just a little bit. Because of the dumb bitch. Because of the dumb bitch. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's when you shaved your head.
That is when I
was gonna
shaved.
say this.
Well, okay, I shaved my head because one of my friends at the time, his brother got cancer.
Oh.
I shaved my head for that.
Okay.
That's not because I
That's-
went insane. It's the timing of the person that broke up with me and that person getting cancer, like a different person. That it's just, I shaved my head and then they broke up with me.
What year was what?
That
You were
was,
high school- was that freshman
sophomore.
year?
That was sophomore year.
29.
That was the beginning of
2018.
sophomore year. Yeah.
So literally,
I remember
it was
that.
the first day because I remember she was super off all the first day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then she called me, and
Bro, dudes can tell,
yeah, no,
and then they highly fixate
think-
on it until they feel like it's fixed, or they
Right?
realize they can just ignore
I
it.
think that goes for both sides though, because I have a friend and she just got out of a relationship, but she knew for like a couple days before it happened, and I think that's how it goes.
there's a time because like for me and her for like a month, it was just off. You could just feel that it's off for at least a month or like a couple days. Like you know something's gonna happen when you're leading up to it.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't make that moment any easier, obviously. And she was my first love, so obviously when it happened, my world was destroyed because I didn't know to love yourself as well and somebody else. All I knew is just to pour 110% into that person.
Mm-hmm.
So when that person left, I was bad. I didn't know what to do. I genuinely did not know what to do, and I think that's one of the lowest points in my life.
Because you accidentally dedicate yourself to making them happy.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that as your goal
You-
anymore, you're like, well.
yeah, you don't know how to be happy.
Yeah.
And so, in that low moment, I met Devin, and he, gracefully, he showed me drugs, of course.
He took you under his wing.
Took me on his wing. He showed me drugs, but he showed me that it's okay. You can find happiness just in other stuff too, not just drugs, but just small things in life. Joke
You gotta
around.
find hobbies
just,
and
just
shit.
in
Have a-
life in general.
Yeah, just have a good time. And one of those things was weed. And the first time that we smoked, it wasn't technically smoking. It was edibles. My first weed experience
No
was with
way.
an edible.
That's crazy.
It was, I went to his house after school. We were playing Spider-Man PS4. And he lets me, he's like, hey, I have this, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he, like, wants to come over and, like, take edibles with us. And I'm like, I've never had edibles before. Like,
Just sorry to cut you off, but just to help me with the timeline, is this is Devin still at the high school or has
Yes,
he, okay,
this
okay. He's still in
is-
school. Okay.
October.
Okay.
This is
yep.
October.
Gotcha.
This is when he's still at the high school. And he's like, I have this guy. Now, okay, I can't say his name.
Is it PF?
SH.
SH.
Train hopping.
Oh, yep. That's crazy.
I don't know this
That's
one. I don't think.
crazy. We've told stories about him on the podcast before.
Where's
I
my
think
phone?
we told
I'm
the
just
train
gonna
hopping.
write his name on my notes real
No,
quick.
I got it. You're telling a story.
Well, I gotta
focus.
For me.
Focus.
Yeah, hold
Focus
up,
on your
hold
story.
up.
I do know them.
You
Yeah.
guys should.
Focus on your story, dude. I'm typing it in.
Okay. So, he's like, yeah, this guy can come over, and he has edibles,
That's crazy.
and like, we'll have a good time. I'm like, dude, I've never smoked before. I've never like, weed's the devil. And he's like, weed's not the devil. And I'm like, God fucking damn it,
It's
you're
just a
right.
plant, man.
It's just a
It's
plant.
legal.
It's a plant that just goes to your
Thank you,
brain.
Washington.
Thank you, Washington.
Real.
Thank you, Colorado. Thank you, Colorado.
Yeah,
They started
Colorado
it.
was first.
Colorado started it.
Oh.
But so he came over and kind of like, in my brain, it felt like I was in like Breaking Bad or something. It would like
That's so
laid
real.
the edibles, like it was like little gummies across the table. And we're like, all right, we're gonna take this many and this many, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
They're talking about the milligrams, and
Yeah,
you're just like,
no,
yeah.
I was like, dude, this is I'm fucking doing crack.
Where's my money?
Where's my money, bitch? Hey, not my house. I was great with it. So then we took them, and edibles take about what you say, 20 to 30 minutes to get
Like
in.
an hour for
Yeah.
me.
An hour.
Yeah.
So because I remember
Depends how much you eat.
it was a while. I think I took like 4 gummies.
No, I mean like how much you eat prior, like how
Maybe
full.
I
prior.
think
your
your
stomach is.
metabolism has a lot to do with it
Yeah,
too.
That as
yeah, it
well.
does.
I don't remember like what I had that day. Obviously, I just remember the experience. I remember I remember sitting there watching Devin play Spider-Man, right? because it's in his basement. I don't know if you guys were ever in his basement.
I do.
Mm.
Yep.
You? Yeah.
Yep.
I was sitting on the long
Think you've
part
been
of
there?
his couch.
Yeah.
I was sitting on the long part of his couch where he could lounge out and shit.
Love that couch.
And I was sitting there like this, watching, and I just became the video game. In
You
that
were
moment,
Spider-Man.
I was Peter Parker, dude, and I couldn't tell anybody. That's a secret.
That was my knowledge.
That's my knowledge. And like obviously the high things, like you're sitting there like, dude, I'm so high. But the weird part was SH. Now,
yeah, that guy is a weirdo.
me and Devin both agreed afterwards that we'd never see him again, but we let him hang out with us because he had
After I
weed.
saw the name, I was like, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
Me too.
Did
Because-
you never hear about the train hopping stories with
Oh,
him?
I
Okay.
when you said that, I kind of thought that was the name was going to get brought up, but I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, no, that's the person who came over.
Wow.
And so we're chilling there. Me and Devin are having a good time. Like Devin's always been high before, but he was also pretty high too, and so was I. So it was like we're
Mhm.
sharing a moment. And SH, he's like, "You guys feel that?" We're like, "Yeah, no, we're high,
totally.
and, we're stoned." He's like, "Yeah," and he like, this dude, he starts like, gets on all fours on the ground, and starts like crawling towards me and Devin, and we're like laughing because we're like, "Oh, this is you're fun."
Dude,
Jesus.
come on.
I hit my fucking
I know,
chair.
I know.
We were
Work
like,
in progress.
yeah, I don't know how it's connecting. That's really annoying. But we were like, this is funny, right? Like this is funny, right? Like he's like crawling.
You never
on
want
us.
to ask yourself
He was
that.
like taking the bit too seriously.
Yeah, like, he was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then he like got on top of Devin and was like wrestling him, and I was like, oh, okay, we're having a good time. We're having a good time. We're high. We're wrestling.
He's just like grabbed him and started fighting him.
No, he's like wrestling, like play wrestling.
Oh, okay.
But like
Silly haha.
silly haha, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is funny. And then he got on me, and I was like, oh, this is funny. And I was like,
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but he
No-
is bi. Just
no, he
mentioning
is
that.
bi, and that's not. I'm okay with that. It was just the fact that he started going a little too far.
Mm.
He started like like touching up, and I was like, hey, stop,
Yeah.
please.
Fire truck.
Yeah, fire truck. And I was like, hey, we're done. And he just kind of kept doing that, and like just being like really touchy with me and Devin. And
Mm.
but you told him, we were like, hey, let's like, we like our personal space. Like we're really high. Like just leave us alone. And he just refused to let us like to answer us on that. So the next morning, like, cause he stayed a night, obviously, and like we were like, okay, go home, bye, see you later. And we both told him like we're not hanging out with him again. That was
Yeah.
that's the last experience. But that was the first time I got high. It was
Wow.
terrible.
The part where you mentioned how you became Spider-Man actually reminds me of an extremely similar experience that I had in that same basement, but instead of weed, it was shrooms.
Hell yeah.
And I know last week was a shroom episode, guys. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, we're doing weed this week.
this is a quickie. So we took them super late. So we were up until like 5 a.m. and we watched the entirety of season 1 of Solar Opposites, the Rick and Morty spinoff with the
Yeah.
aliens. There's that whole subplot with the wall.
The mini people?
They shrink the people and then the wall starts
Yeah.
and they build a society in there and everything. So this is my first bad trip. For context, it was during COVID. So we weren't going to school at all, no online school or anything. I didn't have a job. I was doing nothing. And
Having a bad trip is not a bad thing.
in the
at
moment
all.
it is, but afterwards it's really
afterwards
great
it is-
actually.
It is a wonderful experience.
So we're watching the show and all of a sudden I just get this feeling that someone's watching me. And then I started convincing myself that I was in the wall, that I was a mini person and there's giant people watching me and they're judging me. They're like, holy shit, he's a piece of shit. He's not doing anything with his life. He doesn't have a job. He's not going to school. That is a piece of shit. That is a piece of shit. And that just kept playing in my mind. That is a piece of shit. And I'm like, I just felt like there was eyes on me all night and just telling me I'm a piece of shit. And everyone was having a great time and I was just in the corner just like and like
Everybody's like moving their hands and shit, and you're like, why do I suck?
Yeah,
Just
real.
looking at the
I do.
wall.
But the next morning I woke up and I applied at every like small business in town here and I got a job. Like so it was
Where'd you
extremely
get a job at,
beneficial
Charlie?
in the long run.
Where'd you
but
get the job at?
the Rainier Bar and Bistro.
Damn
it.
Man, that place.
Fucking place.
You guys got any weed stories before I tell my next one?
I suppose I can tell my first. It was nothing crazy for me personally. Jeffrey, actually, Nikki knows Jeffrey. I was with Jeffrey.
I know Jeffrey.
Oh,
Everyone-
my bad.
Wrong fucking one, dude.
You're three.
Everyone
My
knows
bad.
Jeffrey.
So I know Jeffrey.
He's
I love
an
Jeffrey.
Awesome dude. Sorry, I had to burp. And
You're good.
I was
Next time, burp my way.
hella played it
Real.
off like it wasn't my first time.
Oh, it was one of those.
It was one of those.
You were like, oh, dude, I've been high before, and in your brain, you're like,
Yeah, I was low key stressing.
I actually remember afterwards you telling me about this experience, and it was way before my first experience, and I was like, Crawford smoked weed? Crawford's a bad kid. Oh, like I just remember freaking
Yeah.
out because I was still such a goody-goody at the time.
Yeah. And it was fine for me. Like a lot of people say the first time you smoke you don't feel it, which I don't.
I think
don't
it's
really.
bullshit.
I think it's bullshit.
think it's
That happened with
absolutely
me.
bullshit.
No, that deadass happened with me.
well, then it's to per person. Because my first
For
time
sure.
smoking, I was like,
And the buddy I was with that tagged along lost it.
For the really?
Lost it. Couldn't walk, type thing. And we walked to the park because we were underage still. We couldn't even drive.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had to like
I don't like how there's been no allegeds in this whole episode.
This whole episode is alleged.
This whole episode is alleged.
is it legend.
Alleged.
Alleged. Oh yes.
Yeah.
And it was like me and Jeff, each side of him, kind of just walking him back to my house. And we get there,
Initials? I'm curious.
NJ.
Oh, yep. I know. He's a piece of shit.
Yep. I used to be really cool with that guy.
I think all of us were.
All of us were. Because he was cool at first.
Hmm.
Then he wasn't.
And yeah, like he was gone. He was really gone. He was in my bathroom for hours, just freaking out, like not hyperventilating, but like shaking.
Right. He was having the weed sweats. He was having the
Weed sweat. He
greened.
He greened out. He
Yeah.
greened out pretty much. But
Just without the throwing up part. Just
eventually he
everything
came
else.
around and you just start hearing him giggle in the bathroom. And
See, that's the nice thing about when you get really high and you green out is that you're like at the top. You're like, fuck, I'm too high, and then you settle down into the just every single fucking thing is funny.
Yeah.
Everything. Somebody could like drop a. I would have laughed my ass off at that level, dude. I would have been
yeah.
like, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
yeah. And like it wasn't anything crazy, but like for the first time I was like, fuck, because it was the middle of the day.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was like, if my parents walk in, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Type
Real.
stuff.
we're very clearly stoned.
Which is why I kept him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He was just taking a really, really,
This
really,
was when
really
you were in the
long
house,
shit.
right?
Uh,
Or were
no.
you in the guest house?
This is the guest house, yes.
Okay.
Because that was always low key like the hangout after during high school.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Loki was.
Yeah,
Loki
that's
was.
nothing crazy. I had a good little high. I wasn't tweaking or anything, but yeah, I don't know. Some people just that first time is rough.
So this next story, it's actually not me. It doesn't have to do with smoking weed. It has to do with selling weed. I saw this YouTube video just this week, and I thought it was a crazy story. I'm probably gonna get some of the information wrong, but I had to talk about this. And so this happened back in like 2005 when weed was still illegal in the United States, but it was legalized in British Columbia, Canada. There was a guy, like high school dropout, like 19 years old. His name was Nate something. I don't quite remember it. But he dabbled in marijuana a little bit, and
He dabbled in the craft.
and it was illegal, and especially in Idaho, they don't have the conditions to grow it, so
Mm.
weed was horrible. The weed there was gross, basically. It was just oregano at that point. So him and his buddy had the idea to go up to this, multi-million-dollar business that started in Canada, BC Buds, and get some real good weed. It's just like a couple-hour drive. They live in northern Idaho. So they take the drive up there, and they got $2,400 cash, and they're like, we're gonna buy a pound, we'll try it out, and then we'll sell the rest. So they thought it was gonna be this like just total fucking like you could go to any corner on any street and just get weed super easily, and they spent the whole day trying to get some, and they couldn't get anything. And they're like, okay, well they gave up, and they went to a local bar. They're of drinking age in Canada. So they're having a few drinks and they were talking about it, and some creepy old dude overheard them, and he's like, "Hey, I got you. Like, I can hook you up with a pound." And he sold them some skunk ass weed, like not real. He told them it was this crazy dispo BC Buds shit, but it was not. It was skunky ass weed. It was like a $400 pound of weed, is what the video said, and they bought it for $24. They got ridiculously scammed.
That happens when you're new.
Anyways, they take this pound back over the border. Nate, the main guy, they were talking in the car, and they're like, okay, all we got to do is make $3 million doing this. We won't do the flashy, expensive lifestyle, so don't get caught. We split $3 million. We can both buy a beautiful lakeside house and be done. So their plan, they'd get close to the border, and then the guy, the second guy, not Nate, he'd go deep into the forest with the weed and hike this little trail, and then they meet back up in America and go sell it. So despite this weed being extremely shitty, skunk weed, it was still better than the stuff in Idaho. So they were able to double their money. They got like 48. They're like, okay, if we double our money, every pickup, weekly pickups will be done in it was like 12 or 13 months or something like that. We'll get our $3 million. So they start going every week. They start picking up marijuana and getting past the border. Just two 19-year-old kids. Anyways, they started creating this empire in Idaho. They were making millions. They totally did not stick to their word. They started buying mansions and cars and chains and started throwing crazy parties and doing harder drugs. And Nate ended up dating a stripper at one point.
That's the life.
Money consumes.
And there ended up being this rival weed gang that started, because weed is still legal, so there's gangs for weed, rival sellers. And the main guy there
Those were the times.
put a hit out on Nate.
I miss those times.
And he told the guys he'd pay him like $100K, but he'll give him a $5K down deposit, and then afterwards he'll give him the rest. He never gave the hitman the $5K, so instead of going to kill Nate, they went to his buddy's place and stole pounds of weed and cash. And then came back. They met at the place where they planned on meeting with this rival gang leader to bury Nate's body. Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up shooting him instead because they never got their $5K.
Wow.
Anyways, at this point, it had been like 12, 13 months, and they had smuggled, Nate and his crew, over 17,000 pounds of weed.
Jesus Christ.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. And eventually, after, the hitman, they killed the guy and cops found the body. Eventually, it starts leading back to Nate's gang. Some of his members start getting locked up. And Nate dips rather than he told them he was going to pay them for their silence and everything, but he never paid them and he dips. So eventually word gets out about his name. And this guy's now on the run from FBI, DEA, government, everything. 19-year-old kid. He dodged cops for like 5 months. He just kept buying a different house or renting a different house and moving all over the state. Yeah, this 19-year-old kid dodging the FBI is crazy.
Yeah.
Eventually, he was sick of being on the run, and he walked into a police station.
Yeah, you
and
can't
said,
have a life if you're on the run.
I am Nate, whatever his last name was, and jaws just dropped seeing this 19-year-old fucking white nerdy kid and not some, drug mastermind. That's just crazy to me, though. In the span of 13 months, they smuggled 17,000 pounds of weed across the border.
I want that to be a show. I'd watch that.
Yeah, or just even a movie. That's
a movie,
crazy.
Yeah.
Canadian Breaking Bad.
You know how much? That's 17,000 pounds is a lot of fucking marijuana.
That's a lot of marijuana.
That's crazy. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, go for it. You haven't told a weed story yet. I know you've got to have a couple.
I'll tell a weed story.
For sure.
This is actually how I got my name Tree Wizards for my gamer tag.
No way. Gamer tag story.
Trevor's going to miss the lore, and now he's upset.
No, I'm staying.
Oh, he's staying? Okay, he's going to stand there. Jeffrey, you mentioned Jeffrey earlier. Him and I used to fucking hang out all the time. He probably still is my best friend. I just don't actually physically see him ever. But we used to hang out all the time with another friend who got me into weed, and him and I, the three of us would all hang out together and shit. And there's this creek by my house, and it's very scary down there at nighttime. And that was the only time we could smoke because it was like we were like 15.
Yeah.
So obviously, Mama can't be knowing, and we just had to sneak out and shit. So we were like at the cusp of the woods every time, sitting next to like this electrical box or whatever, and that's where we would smoke. And then it was the first time I got like really, really high, like you guys were saying, like with your experiences. And I didn't actually think this. I wasn't like panicking or anything, but I just kept having thoughts like, there are wizards in the trees, like, and they're overlooking us in the woods, and that's how tree wizards came to be.
That's so cool.
Quite frankly.
By the way, Adam on PlayStation, Tree Wizards. There you go.
Add me
Shout
on
out.
PlayStation.
Shoot, there's something I was gonna say, but I lost my train of thought. Oh fuck. Someone take over real quick. While I'll think about this. I remember.
Just got it.
As shitty as it sounds to say this out loud, I think it's almost physically impossible as a high schooler born and growing up in Washington State or California or
Small
Colorado
town where there's nothing to do.
to not smoke weed at least once in their life.
Yeah.
These states that are recreationally legalizing it, I think that's a great thing, and I think marijuana, especially used medically, is a great thing, and I think it can be healthy in moderation, but I don't think it is healthy for someone that is between the ages of 12 and 16 to be smoking it, because your brain is still developing so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost physically impossible to not try it in high school if you're growing up in one of these states where it's recreationally available.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be influence, and especially when you're at such a influential age where you're going through puberty and everything, there's going to be peer pressure. Someone that you're hanging out with is going to bring it up, and you're going to get peer pressured into it.
Yeah.
And like it or not, I think at some point everyone tries it in those ages.
And social networking at school is insane for everybody, unless you're like some goon that nobody wants to talk to, but that's not most people. But you're going to meet somebody who's like into that already, and they're going to and you're going to start hanging out with them and shit. That's exactly what happened to me, and probably you guys too.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, not to out Trevor and Devin, but that's how it started for me. I mean, obviously, Michael.
Yeah, we did.
obviously, Michael was my first time smoking, but when I really started getting to my stoner era, where I was smoking like every week or 2-3 times a week, prior to every day. I mean, we're off that now, but that was when I started hanging out with Trevor and Devin a lot. We'd meet up after school, go to a creek or abandoned bridge or some shit, smoke a little bit, smoke a J, and then come back and just hang out, play video games, and that's really where the stoner era began.
We showed Charlie what living was like.
Real.
We showed him what living was like.
No, I mean, like I said, it started with Michael, but you guys really did break me. I was such a goody-goody.
Well, because you were goody-goody and
4.0 GPA, A student.
It's not even that. It was just like, if it wasn't, because you had baseball going for you. But then your arm got fucked up.
I mean, it was I partly quit because of my arm, and I still have a fucked arm, but it was also because I started hanging out with you guys, and I hated hearing that there was like crazy moves that I wanted to be a part of. I'm like, I can't because of stupid fucking practice 40 minutes away. It's going to take up my whole afternoon.
Right.
Just like, so that was part of it too.
That's fair. Yeah, no. And I mean, like, I know there's been times, I mean, it was a long time ago where you were like, I think you got like really drunk one night and you were like I'm so upset that you guys showed me the dark side or whatever. Like, it was crazy. Like, you were really fucked up.
I don't remember this.
You were really fucked
That's
up.
crazy.
But like, you were telling me that, and I knew in that moment, I was like, nah, he's just in a moment. Like, we showed you, not just because of drugs, but like just how to have a good time. Just enjoy the moment.
Up.
Loosen up.
There's definitely
relax.
Times where I look back and reminisce on baseball, and I think where it could have gone. I mean, granted, again, my arm. But I was really good.
I'll back that up. Charlie was really good.
I could have really taken that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I look back on the past 4 or 5 years, and I mean, besides, some little things here and there, I have no regrets. I've loved getting to know this friend group and just everyone, not just, the people sitting here, and the things I've gotten to experience, and, finding myself as a man with you guys. I think this is exactly where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Everything comes back to piss pit.
Sure.
Man,
Piss Pit was meant to happen, dude.
I mean, we have a really large group.
it's a
We
great group
really
of people.
Leaving
do,
out of
like-
high school, we had a large group, and it's dwindled by 3 numbers. 2 of them moved away.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there's some subgroups within the
Some
larger group,
subgroups, yeah.
but
But I
it's a
mean,
great group of people.
I would say that a lot of people, at least like parent-wise, like my parents have said, like it's so cool that you have this huge group.
Yeah, and it's been running since sophomore year, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, for all of us.
when the main big group started, like it's been a long time.
like, there's-
and there's some sort of statistic, I've seen it all over social media, like if you've been friends with someone for more than 3 years or 5 years or something, there's like a 90% chance you're friends with that person for the rest of your life.
Like,
Yeah.
I've been friends with you guys for at least 7-8 years.
Mhm.
Probably 7-8 years. 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years over here,
Yeah.
fucking
Fucking what?
16
Yeah, I was gonna
over
say,
here.
You guys
Yeah.
have me beat on everybody.
me and Nicky are a little more recent, but we had a pretty deep conversation on the way home yesterday, and
I'm
I fucking love this guy.
Pretty sure you hated me, right?
No.
No, you didn't
I-
hate me.
Trevor thought
I-
everyone hated
Yeah,
him. Can I
yeah.
talk about that?
No,
Actually,
no, hold
Actually,
on, one
that's
second,
real.
one
You
second.
hated me because you thought that I hated you.
no,
No,
that
was,
didn't both. That was me.
No, that was me. I hated you because you were annoying.
Whoa.
Yeah, we've talked about
Drama.
this.
Whoa.
I thought you were annoying, but then I was like, wait, no, Charlie's actually pretty cool. But no, anyways. So you didn't hate me? Because I thought there was a moment.
Briefly, but it wasn't a rational thought,
Mhm.
which I had to come to terms with.
I mean,
Because-
Trevor sucks, to be fair.
Aforementioned girl
Right,
earlier
Oh,
was
I know.
told that she couldn't date until high school, and then
Really?
yeah,
I
And
recall that
then-
you were hooked on her.
and she was all about it. So I was like, all right, cool. And then, a little bit later, a year later, when they were on the
DC trip.
DC trip.
Oh, sorry. I'm muted.
Oh.
This is so unprofessional. I'm just, that noise is coming back up very faintly. Faintly. I'm trying to get everyone to. I was trying to get everyone to tighten it one by one, muting them without interrupting the story. But anyways, you're up. Keep telling your story. You're muted, Carl. You're good.
I'm listening.
Oh yeah,
The DC trip,
But-
trip.
but yeah, and then that whole thing happened, and then you guys were together. So because of what she said, I was like, wait,
Right.
huh? Because I guess I expected her to like wait or something, which is like goofy. But I was also a child, so it's like
we were kids, dude.
yeah.
I want
and-
to say
Yeah.
to anyone to the younger audience, if you have a 8th grade DC trip and you fall in love, it will not last.
It will not
Real.
last. You might think it might last, and it might last for a little bit, but it'll end, and it'll end hard. Like literally, my cousin is in a relationship. She's 18, I think. No, she's 17. She will turn 18 soon, but she about a year ago got a boyfriend, and I was like, hey, I'm really like proud of you, but like, I want to talk to you real quick. So I like sat her down. I was like, listen. You know how it was with me and that one girl. Like, I just want you to
The
know.
older, wiser cousin coming in clutch.
The older, wiser cousin is coming in clutch. I was like, I want you to know that, like, don't pour all of your happiness and your everything you have, don't pour it into that one person.
Mm.
Don't
it-
level up all one stat.
Don't level up in one stat, dude. Equal
Gotta
it
have a
out. Have
balanced
a little
build.
bit in higher one. No, but I pretty much I told her, I was like, just focus on yourself, especially
Mm.
because you can make that work where you focus on yourself, but also give that happiness to a person.
100%.
And I also said, I was like, if you, I asked her, I was like, do you plan on, like, it's unrealistic. I understand that, like, you know, you're just kids, but do you see a future with this person? And she was like, yeah, I do. Like, we've talked about, like, moving out and stuff. I'm like, okay, then you have to work on being together. You will get in arguments. This is both your first relationship. You will be upset at each other, but you have to work through those arguments to continue to be together. Because if you just get upset with them and then be like, fuck you, you know, whatever, blah. Like, if you want to be together, you have to work on communication, like genuine communication.
And that goes for outside of relationships too. When you just spend so much time with the one single person, there's bound to be disagreements and
Yeah.
arguments. It's gonna happen.
sure.
And
It's
happened,
about how you work
it's-
past it.
like I said, outside of relationships, it's happened with me and Trevor. It's happened
Yeah.
to me with everyone in this room. That disagreements happen, arguments happen when you spend that much time with a single person.
You get upset at the
I
person.
do want
but
to come
it's-
back to the Trevor and I hating each other.
Well, yeah,
We'll get there because
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention I had a very similar conversation with my cousin. She's also the same age, 18, and she's got a pretty serious boyfriend right now. They're going
Is
on
it
Airbnb trips
who
together.
I think it
Yeah,
is?
yeah, yeah.
Love that guy. Fuck, I love him, dude.
Really?
Genuinely, I've started
okay.
to work with him a lot more. I
Mhm.
love him. Such
So-
a cool guy.
Be able to live your own life outside of the relationship. Don't dedicate 100% of yourself to it.
It's unhealthy. It's
Exactly.
very
Yeah.
unhealthy.
You forget about yourself.
and
You do that shit.
I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. Obviously, me and my ex are no longer in contact, but my ex and my dad were very close when we were together. And they still like if he goes in to eat at the Rainier, yeah, I've mentioned it. She's a waitress there. They'll talk for a little bit. And this was his first day working there. My cousin's boyfriend's first day working there, and I remember my dad was fairly drunk, to be fair, but he had asked my ex, what do you think of blank? What do you think of my niece's boyfriend? And she said some shit like
This
he's-
is information I don't even know.
she said some shit like, I mean, he seems nice enough, but like it kind of seems like there's a knock at the door or no one's there, or it was like the lights, there's a light bulb but it's switched off or something.
The lights
like that.
aren't on in the house, but
Yeah,
someone's
yeah,
home.
yeah. Like
Really?
which you don't see that. Like I think he's cool. I'm not dissing him. I think he's actually a genuinely great guy, but that's kind of spot on. I feel like.
I can see that. There's moments. I think he has a sense of humor that's like dry, but not dry at the same
No,
time.
I just mean I genuinely think he's just a little bit dumb.
a little dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because I worked prep with him a couple days ago,
Okay.
and he remembered a lot of stuff
Okay.
and was
maybe.
like doing it, and would like go up to Eric and be like, "Hey, I want to make sure I'm doing this." Like he seems like he actually has his head on screwed on. He's not actually stupid. Like maybe he has those moments because he smokes a lot,
Yeah.
where he
Yeah.
has those moments where he's dumb because he's probably high.
I'm sorry to you two because you can't be a part of this conversation.
Yeah,
we'll,
sorry.
we'll switch over back to that real quick. One more
yeah.
thing I wanted to say. The one thing I didn't like about him, well, like I said, I think he's a great
He's
guy.
a Pirates fan.
Well, yeah. Fuck him for that. But when we did my annual family's Bellevue trip in the winter, after we had dinner, all of us, I mean, we're not kids anymore, but I'm doing kids in quotation marks because, to our parents, we're kids.
The kids
Yeah.
go elsewhere.
We
They
we,
do their
we
own
went back to
things.
the hotel room and we had a couple of bottles and some just sippers and some dab pens, and we were just partying up, having a good time. And I could so just see the age gap between me and him, despite it only being like 2-3 years. I was just like, because he was like, I was done. I was really fucked up, and he was like trying to peer pressure me to take another shot with him or to hit the dab pen again. And I'm just like,
Listen, kid.
listen.
That's the worst when you've decided you're done and then everyone else isn't done. You're like,
And then
Well,
they're
I
like,
just-
keep going.
yeah.
Well, it's just, I mean, obviously that shit doesn't work on me anymore because I've grown up. But like with
Yeah.
partying with people my own age, everyone's just like, okay, cool. Like you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
Totally respectable.
More for me. That's
Yeah.
how it goes.
But anyways, you hating Crawford.
Yeah.
Yes, I
situation.
want to hear this.
Yeah, that fuck. When was that?
When's the timeline?
This is when everyone was friends. It might have been junior
Junior
year.
year.
Yeah, you guys
That was
were
a
like,
good year.
this
That
is
was a good year.
because you were kind of late to our current friend group
Yeah.
because you were still hanging out with the other group, and then we started talking again. And I introduced you to like a subgroup.
I remember that because you said I'm doing eating ghost peppers with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
I was like,
we-
with
yeah.
that guy, really?
So for that, really quick, Hyder threw his up.
I threw it up immediately
Charlie threw his up.
in 10 seconds
And-
after getting it down.
I was like, okay. I ate mine just fine. Worst 2 hours on the toilet ever.
Yeah,
It
I bet
just-
going out was so much worse than going in.
Oh.
It
we
was.
ate Carolina
And
Reaper
I was
peppers.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
so pissed that my partner who was doing this challenge with me was not experiencing that.
And I also was the one who influenced him to do it. I brought
Yeah.
them over and I was like, hey,
you
let's
you
do
were
this.
ground zero
Yeah.
for the fire
Yeah,
shit.
the sweats, not.
Anyways,
not a
that's
big
a
deal.
cute little story, but
Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah.
slowly bleeding Crawford into this current group out
Mhm.
of his other
And
group.
I was like, dude, I don't like him. And you were like, why? And I was like, because he doesn't like me.
Obviously.
Yeah, 'cause he doesn't like me, dude. I don't want to be associated with someone who doesn't like me.
That's such a 16 to 17-year-old
Isn't it?
mindset.
It's
Yeah.
such a fucking. It's crazy.
Anyways,
What sucks about
Oh
sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say what sucks about that mindset is it in a way it translates over to your adult life if you don't correct it when you're younger.
Oh, of
It's
course.
in a different
Exactly.
form, and it's definitely hard at times to not be like fucking negative towards yourself. You know what I mean? You really gotta
It's-
fight that
It's
battle.
very
Yeah.
hard. Still struggle to that. You
Yeah.
know, like, and that's the thing about being an adult is that you just. We're not an adult. We're
Mhm.
a young adult. We have adult responsibilities, but we're still young,
Mhm.
and we're still working through that. Like, just working on being an adult.
You're always going to be working, dude. I think at one point in our lives, things overall will be easier to manage. I think things will get easier for us in a lot of regards. Like, we won't have to. I think we'll all figure ourselves out a lot more as we keep on living, and then the shit's going to be a lot easier because of that. Because it sucks just kind of not understanding yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes that.
It's a really hard concept to wrap your head around
Yeah,
at this age.
It makes the
And
negative
younger, too,
thoughts
especially.
a lot harder to disperse, to get
Mm.
rid of.
I do want to dig deep into this, like this subject. I have a lot to say on it.
Well,
I-
let's go back to the. You
yeah,
hating
we
me.
gotta
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gotta finish this up. It's
We gotta
been
finish
it's
that,
been brought
yeah.
up a couple times now. So like, there was no like initial like. Trevor didn't say anything specific that I was like, oh, this guy hates me. It was just,
It was
You
implied.
caught the vibe.
it was yeah, it was a catching
Okay,
vibe.
actually, you want to know? Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Personally, the reason why I hated you is because of that one thing. I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but it was about the ex. I don't know why this has been like a big, the one we've been talking about. You like said something about like I think you were joking, but you were like, "It's my turn now."
Oh,
like,
I
re-
definitely would say some shit. Like
Yeah,
that.
Ooh,
right
that's
right
brutal.
after like that happened, and I think that was the moment where I was like, "Okay, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
This guy sucks."
But that was well before.
Well
That was
before, well before.
And
But just
so-
like it was like that stigma. Like I was like every time I
Yeah.
saw you, I was like, dude, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And then like I see you guys like hang out at lunch. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy.
Dude,
I'm gonna hurt
the
him.
lunchroom was the worst when there was drama. You're
Dude.
like,
Dude.
I see them over there.
Yeah, you're sitting across the
Yeah.
commons and you
Just
just
fucking
you
lunchroom.
you catch each other, you make eye contact for that split second.
That's for a second.
You
and
both look away.
Your heart races, and you're like, fuck. One thing that happened is that because I was so like over like in love still, that I planned on asking her out to homecoming. So I was like, she still wants me.
That was a
She still fucking wants
other
me.
Trevor moment. With,
Yeah.
That's when you
with
thought you were in
SD.
a movie.
That's when, yeah, that's when I thought I was the main character. But I was like, I'm gonna ask her out, and then she got asked out by someone else, and it broke me to where I went to MS,
Yep.
super
Mhm.
buff now, hella religious.
She has a kid, right?
No,
Oh,
it
not
is
that
a
one.
guy.
Oh,
I'm
my
talking
bad.
about a guy who's really buff, super religious.
Oh, yep.
2 years younger
He's
than
got-
us, but
he's got
same
a-
grade somehow.
I might not know him.
No,
as
you
well.
do. Friends with DA. Friends with who we went golfing with.
Hella
the
upper
other
body
week.
strength, like skips leg day, obviously.
There's a
Hmm.
whole workout program and everything.
Whole workout
He's friends
program.
with DA and N. I don't know N's last name, but those two,
And
Oh.
age.
the workout
Ha-ha.
guys.
I see.
I
Here, I'll just show you his Instagram. Continue talking.
I can't
Hey,
read lips.
hey,
That's fine. Okay.
Continue talking.
So, and like I turned and I ran up to him and I started crying.
You
I
ran up
stopped-
to
Oh,
M?
I do
To
know this.
M,
one.
yeah, and started crying.
I love that guy.
Oh,
I-
because he asked her?
no, not because he asked her, because just some other guy asked her, and
Oh.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran. I was trying to find somebody,
You
and
chose
I
like-
found him.
Did you
I think
know
he chose
him?
a good person.
I did. I chose
He's a
him,
cool
and
guy,
he like
yeah.
held me, and then we also were friends for that moment, and I went to like youth group with him. It was a really weird time. I mean, I don't care about religion, but that was just a weird time for me.
Yeah.
Like I was going to youth group and smoking weed, I didn't know what I wanted.
Bro had a
I-
double
For the
life.
Lord.
dude.
I'm pretty
Agent
sure the
00.
majority of youth groups smoked weed.
Yeah, no.
Real,
I had a
yeah.
choice. I had a choice in that moment. It was either God or weed. I chose both.
Is that
I
the
said
one-
I can have both.
Is that the one? Did you go there with Solomon? Was that the same
No.
one?
That was
No.
that was me.
That was
You guys went there together?
I
I gotcha.
went there with Solomon. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I
um,
went to a
Pray to
complete-
Solomon real quick.
Speaking of homecoming, I got 2 stories for that.
We're never gonna find out.
My bad.
We still haven't. No. Shut
Oh,
up.
okay.
We still
Okay.
haven't found out.
Oh shit.
Pretty
We're not-
much.
We're not done
I
with
left
this.
for a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought we were.
we're not
There was
done
some
with it.
slight cues
Yeah.
on both ends that
Anyways.
we had picked up on that may or may not have existed, and I was like, okay, this guy hates me. I'm not gonna put energy into this. Like we're not that close anymore, but like the guy's
'Cause there,
cool.
There was a time where we were really close.
Yeah.
We hung out like almost all time in middle school.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was super bummed about that, but I was like, okay, I'll respect it. Come to find out that after a whole summer wasted of us avoiding each other,
I'd say about the summer, like a year and a half.
we find out that we didn't hate each other.
It was
That's how it happens,
It was
bro.
it was a
Yeah,
mutual. We
I-
both thought we hated each other, but we didn't
We
actually
didn't.
hate it.
Like
I remember during this time I wasn't as close with the bigger group, and I was super close with you two specifically. So it'd be like, Trevor would text me, "Hey, you want to hang out? Check Snap Map. Oh, you're with him." Or I'd be with Trevor. Crawford would text me, "Hey, you want to hang out? Oh, you're with him."
Yeah.
It's like I was living a double life because it was my 2 bestest friends that just hated each
that
other.
shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have hated each other. We
Guys,
probably would have had a
conversation can save so much.
It can.
A
Dude,
simple-
just saying how you fucking feel.
great summer. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Just open. It'd be like, hey, like even if you don't like that person, it's like, hey, I don't like you.
I think it's because we're naturally just scared of
Confrontation.
appearing weak to other people.
Yeah,
when
that's
like
100%.
there's nothing fucking wrong with just being like, this is how I feel. What the fuck? Or not so blatantly like that, but like, is there anything going on?
right.
And like I've been struggling with that a lot. Not so much lately. I've been getting a lot better about it, but
It's good.
just being like okay saying with how I actually feel without feeling like a bitch for some reason. I do that sometimes and I don't get it. Like
Sometimes it's a stigma that we hold above us that we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to show that much emotion. We're supposed to be strong, you know.
yeah. But
But
like
it's okay.
I'm trying to learn how to still be mentally strong and like think for myself and shit. I've always tried to be really good about that, but also just not feeling so fucking defensive all the time
Right.
because I'm naturally very just keeping 2 shields in
I was
both
gonna
hands,
say, a
bro.
wall is built up.
So I
like-
will.
sorry.
Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
I was gonna say like over the summer, I thought you and I had beef for some reason. For some reason I thought you didn't like me. I
No,
didn't
low
think
key,
there
I
was
picked
beef.
up like we didn't like you wouldn't like communicate with me as much as the others, and I picked up on that. I was
It's
like,
because
this is
like I would just tell myself something about. I think we just had a couple of like weird miscommunication
Yeah.
moments where like.
we didn't understand each other.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't understand the humor.
But
didn't-
we had hung out before and stuff when we leave. Like I've spent the night at your house before,
Yeah.
but like we've never gotten like a super good connection or like
No,
had a
yeah.
good talk or anything like that. So I kind of just made up vibes in my head, and I was like, maybe that's weird.
Bro said, I don't think we're cool. And it was just like moving on from that.
yeah.
That's
So-
what I did, dude. I have such an irrational brain at times, and
No,
I'm
me too,
getting
man, I get
I'm
it.
getting used to that and thinking the opposite naturally because I know I naturally make up negative shit because
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather believe that because it's easier to believe that for some reason rather than telling myself that like people do love me, people accept me and shit like that.
For sure.
Which we do, Nikki. I accept you.
I accept you
Sometimes.
more, bitch.
So I will say, just recently, a couple weeks ago, I sparred Trevor with the sparring gear that you brought to
Stop,
the
we're
house.
bringing that
And
up,
that
dude.
was my first like actual fist fight. Just wearing like I've never been in a fight, so that was my first one wearing sparring gear.
Our group was
And
very
that-
not fighting.
That was
Yeah.
very. I had a
Wow.
very fun time doing that, but I have had this opinion for years, and I will always stick to this. I think that any argument or confrontation or anything going on can be solved by using your words and communicating.
Absolutely, it can.
And people who get into physical altercations, who start throwing fists or shooting guns or anything like that, is because they're too fucking stupid to use their brain.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
too scared to open
I was
up.
about to say, too stupid or too scared?
Yeah.
And so
anything can
they
be solved
resort
with
to
words.
violence. They
That's why
resort
there's
to
so much violence within opposing gangs and shit like that, because all of them are about looking hard as fuck, looking
Yeah,
harder than the other
you
guy.
can't open up
and
your
it's
emotions.
so
Yeah.
weird. It's so goofy.
It's
such a
crazy
weird
that
culture.
like that's supposed to be the status of being a man, is just bottling your emotions and just, you know, fucking being just a hard, ripped,
Taking it
tattooed,
out.
fucking, yeah. The cure to male depression is thugging that shit out. But no, like seriously, like you know, like that's like there's a stigma, but when really you can just be open, dude. Just be honest. Who fuck if somebody
We're in a
looks
new
at you?
era of society.
No,
guys.
but like if somebody looks at you and is like, you're not being a man because you're fucking crying and opening up to me. Fuck that person, dude. They can
Real.
go
Yeah.
spread that ideologies to somebody else.
Yeah, if you start crying about something, like, and you're trying to talk to your homies or something, and they aren't being cool to you or supportive,
They're like just Doug,
They ain't
just
your
homies.
work out,
Yeah.
man, dude. It'll be okay.
it's like put a fucking hand on their shoulder, dude. Like rub their back a little bit. Be like, you're good, dude.
They
Just
look at
get
them
it
and be
out.
like, I love you, man.
Yeah.
You're good. Sometimes that's all people need. It's just a reassurance that, hey, I care about you, man.
So
Like genuinely.
this conversation actually brings me to a really good point. Everyone outside of our age group, like mid Gen Z-ish, I would say is where we're at, would say that COVID was horrible for our generation. It was the worst time for us.
I had a great
It destroyed our education
we're getting
system.
there.
It's going to make life so much harder outside because we didn't learn, like we didn't have that senior year or anything. I think COVID was so extremely beneficial socially because it really
Showed you who your
it
true friends
showed you who the real ones were.
Yeah.
There's
the ones
so-
that would genuinely keep in contact.
I lost so many quotation marks here friends during COVID because I just stopped talking to so many people because I would only see these people at school, but I considered them my friends, and then
yeah,
you
there's
really
school friends
started
and
to
there's home friends.
weed
Real
out
quick,
the fake ones.
Do you feel like you like maybe not now, but like in your like during high school maybe, did you feel like you had this natural expectation for people to communicate with you first, and then you just let communications go if you didn't get hit up first? I struggled with that hella.
I would not say so for myself. I mean, there's definitely some people that I wasn't as close with that I'd expect. I wouldn't talk to them unless they had said something first.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like I had my specific people I talked to in every class. And sometimes, you know, I'd get a class with Trevor or Crawford or you where I was like genuinely close with that person. And then there'd be classes where I was only friends with that person because they were the only person I semi-knew
Yeah.
in that class. And then when you're at school 5 days a week and you're seeing these people the same amount of time, it's hard to see the difference at that point. Then when COVID hit, it was really clear who your real friends were.
Your real friends were. I would say the craziest part to that though, is that when COVID hit, a lot of this friend group just neglected me, for obvious reasons though, because I was doing some not fun stuff
Oh yeah,
and
you're
doing like a lot of crazy shit.
villain
there-
era shit.
not even that. Just this whole friend group was a lot of the people were still very goody goody. A lot of them
Very
wouldn't
goody-goody.
drink or smoke. So they're like, Trevor smokes weed.
I was gonna say, smokes
Uh-uh.
weed, he fucking drinks. Like that's not good.
I was gonna say real quick, since COVID, I've gained more friends. like
Yeah.
it's been wild.
100%. The group has definitely been brought back together as we've grown up.
We're a fucking clan. It feels
Yeah.
like.
The house really helps with that too. Like
Yeah,
just,
that's like a headquarters.
yeah,
dude.
it really is the
Yeah.
headquarters.
The frat's awesome.
That's the Helldiver
I
ship.
mean, I go there before I go home after work.
Really?
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah,
I live there.
It's a great place.
Trevor lives there.
It's great.
Do you live there?
I do.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
You moved out?
Pay
Genuinely.
rent, yeah.
partial
Really?
rent,
Talking
yeah.
about making a.
Where do
room
you
for me.
sleep?
The
Making
living
a
room.
The
room.
right
living room
now.
is his bedroom.
Is
right
the
now.
room gonna be that bonus room in the shop?
We're thinking about it. Yeah.
Please, I've got the twin bed.
Yeah. We're thinking about moving some stuff out.
Oh, where the safe is and
Where the
stuff?
safe is
Yeah.
and stuff. That'll be like my room pretty much. And
Good
like
shit.
like I've mentioned it to people since I guess we've moved on to this. Like it's not that I don't like my parents. It's not like that I have a bad connection. I love my parents. I have such a fucking great connection with them.
Sometimes you can't be around them constantly, though.
But mentally I am ready to be out of that house.
Mhm.
Mentally I am just
sure.
not happy in that house, and it's not my parents' fault. It's just me being ready to go out.
Mhm.
So being
I
over
feel like
there,
sorry, real quick. I feel like when you're seeing the constant same fucking scenery over and over again too, you're just looking at your own house constantly and not doing enough shit. It's so brutal on your mind,
and
dude.
that's the thing too, is that like I would try to help around the house. I would try to clean. I try to do dishes. my mom listens to this, so she's probably gonna like talk to me like, no, the fuck you don't. That's mom. That's because you don't let me do the dishes,
This is
man.
directly to you.
This is directly to you, man. I tried. To
She's
do
gonna
the
say, well, that's
dishes.
because you don't do them right.
Well,
Love your
no,
mom.
exactly. No, that's it. I did the dishes once, and I was like, you know what? Like, I felt so good about myself. I was like, fuck yeah, I did the dishes. I feel like I did something. She comes home, opens the dishwasher. She's like, why is this here? Why is this here? Just don't do the dishes. And I'm like, fine, dude.
It's funny because I do a lot of the chores at my house, but I told my mom I'm never doing the dishes. I hate doing
Dishes
the
is the one
dishes, bro.
thing that like it's rough.
It's
rough for
cringe.
me.
I
It's a
don't mind
cringe
it at
chore.
all.
Really?
I don't mind it,
I picked
actually.
up on the whole clean it as you use it. So
Yeah.
as soon as I'm done with the dish, it's immediately going in the
I
dishwasher.
had a
That's
crazy
fine.
argument with Trevor about that a few years back.
Dude,
during
that was
COVID.
wild.
He-
Because
he
I
li- he-
wasn't home.
Yeah, he lived with me for 2 weeks when his whole family had COVID, and my parents were out of town, and I got in his fucking face about the dishes. They were stacking up, and
I
was like,
remember this.
I don't care if they're in the sink, but just rinse them off after you're done, because it's so much harder to scrub them for 5 minutes after the food crusts on.
Yeah, and then your
The
hands get
food
all
crust.
soggy.
And then my defense was like, I've been gone for 5 days. The dishes are piling up, man. That was crazy, though. That was a wild moment.
It was a good time.
It was a good time.
overall.
Anyways, Trevor and I found out that we didn't actually hate each other, and it was a waste of a summer.
I forgot.
I'm just gonna get that out of the way.
Finally finished that story.
I was super bummed
Well,
about it.
I feel like that
because
was
it was so
implied
much wasted
because
time.
we're right here.
I
and we
interrupted that
obviously-
like 3 times.
Everyone
you interrupted 3
that.
times. You interrupted 4 times. I interrupted like 5 times.
Happens.
But
So that story is finally over.
yay, 30 minutes
Yay.
later. But going back to you moving out, and you mentioned like your parents and everything, and just needing to get out of the house.
Mhm.
I wanted to bring up like same. I love my parents. There's no hate there. They're the greatest 2 people in the world. They raised me so well, and they did so much for me. But as I've grown older and kind of become my own person, yeah, there's some similarities there, but I really don't share a lot of the same interests as them. I think part of that is growing up in this age where there's all this new technology developing and everything. You just,
The Apple Vision Pro.
yeah, I can hear my cat.
I'm gonna go
meowing.
let the
I
kitty.
can hear it too.
So it's just like it's a little different because there's so much to do outside of like spending time with your parents. As a teenager in our age, you have your phone and there's just so much to do there and so many ways to interact with people.
Mhm.
So whereas like when they grew up, the only people they could interact with was their parents
Was
after
their
they got
parents
home.
and their family, and
With their family, exactly. So
they didn't
you
really have
kinda-
that urge.
I feel like as we grow older, obviously there's always going to be those similarities because you came from them, but
Right.
we're going to be
They're
a
flesh and blood.
lot different from how our parents are, rather how they are very similar to how their parents are, our grandparents are, because that's the only influences they had. And
We all grew up in the point where technology really boomed.
we're
Like,
the testing
truly,
age.
Truly boomed.
We are the
Like when
the
I
test
was
subjects.
like when we were like
Yeah.
10 or 11, like technology was just starting, and by the age of 14, like everybody had Snapchat,
hmm
everybody
Yeah.
had Instagram.
Yeah, like
It was
It
just
started
normal.
like social
if,
media.
our,
Yeah.
if our parents wanted to hang out with their friends, they had to go fucking find them.
Yeah, they had to like go
Go
and find
look
the
for them.
bikes on the yard. and,
Hope they'd answer the landline.
Yeah. But I think one of the craziest things that like with moving out is, and the thing that hurts me the most is my brother and sister.
For
I
sure.
love them so much.
They're
and like
2 great kids.
fucking
I know
fantastic
them
kids. It's
very
actually
well.
I want to bring up a story. It's
For sure.
fucking such a funny story. It is about my sister, and I love she is honestly
She's
one
a
of the most
sweetheart.
purest. Like when she grows up, she's gonna be such a nice person. I
How
can
old
just
are
tell.
your siblings?
My sister is 4, and my brother is born in 2016. Is 7? Is
I-
that 7 years?
4 also.
I don't know how much I believe in like the soul like theory where your souls are constant and they pass on to like the next person
Mm.
as if that person dies. But if that is true, then your sister has such an old kind soul.
Honestly.
Like that soul's been around
Dude,
for hundreds of years.
She,
and
I was
she's so
leaving.
sweet.
I think it was Wednesday or not Wednesday. It was when it was daytime, and she like was waiting for me because she likes to wait for me as I pull out and she likes to wave. And I was on my phone, just kind of texting. Like I think I was texting you or something. It's like, hey, I'm gonna be home soon. And I turn around, she's at the window like this, my car, like, right up. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, are you gonna leave soon? I'm like, well, I was texting. She's like, all right, I'll wait right here for you. And like just sat there and waited.
That's adorable.
But one of the funniest things she did was we were all hanging out as a family, and I went to go like hug her just casually, and she went, ow, my nose, my nose. And I was like, what? What's wrong? She's like, there's a screw up there. And we're like, what? So we like look up her nose. No screw. No nothing. We're like, hey, there's no screw up. I was like, I said her name, but who cares? She's 4.
It's a very common name.
A very common name. I was like, there's no screw up there. She's like, oh, it hurts. And like, we're like feeling her nose and stuff, and no screw, no nothing. So like 2 weeks go by. Okay.
Oh, dude, no.
2 or 3 weeks. And she starts like hurting. She's like, there's a screw up there. There's a screw up there. And so like she's crying and freaking out. And finally my mom's like, okay, I'm taking her to the doctor. Like she's obviously upset about something in her nose. I'm going to bring it to the doctor.
Kids shove stuff up their noses.
Right.
Happens.
And what's actually really funny, I'll get there in a second. Hold up. Okay. We're talking about my sister. Sorry, Crawford just got back. We're talking about my sister shoving something up her nose.
Everyone knows someone that shoved something up their nose
Exactly.
and they had to go to the ER.
My finger.
My finger, my nail went up there. So she brings to the doctor, and they find a screw that is about that big up her nose. Okay, like some black nail, and so they have to like get it out of her nose. My mom, I'm at work having a good time, joking, and I get a text from my mom. She's like, Haley wasn't lying. What do you mean? She sends me a photo of a fucking nail. It's like the nail was up her nose.
That's
And
crazy.
apparently it got to the point where it was so far up her nose that it like you couldn't feel it if you felt your nose.
Yeah.
Like, it was like
'cause
all
you
the
got
way
your bone
up there.
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the way up there. And my mom was like, I knew she was going to put something up her nose. I was like,
So
why? Because apparently my mom used to stick
That's so
fucking
funny.
beads up her nose. like just for fun.
she looks so much like your mom.
She does.
But
she really
I have
does.
a story about your sister, which is kind of funny.
Really?
And I might actually. We recorded this. We were. This was like right when we first started Piss Pit a few months ago, and we were testing our new mics through the app that we post these through. And me and Trevor were just on a call, and we're like, holy shit, we don't have to be in person. Like, we could do an online call. That's not as cool, but if push came to shove, we could do this through a call. And we were just talking. It was like a 7-minute conversation. I might post it sometime, but
I think you should.
she came into his room, and I can hear her in the background through the mic, and she's like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm on a call. With who? Charlie. Hi, Charlie. And then she just sat there while we were talking for a little bit after I said hi and everything, and she's like, what's that? And points at your hand, and you're like, my phone. I'm on a call. And she's like, no, what? In your hand. And you're like, oh, my vape? She's like, yeah, what's that? And I think you said, like, that's a story for another time or something. I don't know. But it was just,
I said, you're too young for that. You're too young for
it was so sweet. Like, as soon as you mentioned my name, she was like, hi, Charlie. She's
loves
such
you,
a sweetheart.
man. She loves you. Like, every time I mention, like, oh, I'm hanging out with Charlie, she's like, oh, Charlie.
Yeah, your brother loves me, too.
Dylan,
great.
I think he has autism. I'm so glad my mom listens to this. Mom, I think he has autism.
This is how you're telling her.
I've told her before.
Okay.
I've mentioned it, and she's like, yeah, probably, but also not.
He's such a great kid, but
He's
there's
a good
definitely
kid.
some tendencies there.
Like, loud noises. Like, so my sister loves my death metal. Loves
Yeah,
it.
I've
She
seen
will,
her awesome.
she will
rock into
headbang
it.
to it, but my brother hates it. And I thought it was just because it was loud music, or like,
It's
Oh.
not music for children.
Yeah, it's not as
It's not weird that he doesn't like it. It's weird that your
it's weird
sister
that my
likes
sister
it.
likes it. But then I also just played one of my pop songs. Like, I just, I listen to all kind of music. So I think it was like Hotel Ugly. I think I put
Mm.
Hotel Ugly on. But I had it too loud, and he didn't like it. So I turned it down. Still didn't like it. Turned
That's
it
such a
all
slow,
the way down.
nice vibe too.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, I like it. So I was like, that's autism. Because high frequencies. And he also likes everything organized. He freaks out when you touch one single thing that is his.
Yeah, his toys.
His toys.
Puts
You
labels
cannot
on
play
everything.
toys
Freaks
with
out.
Dylan.
Yeah, no.
He
You
asked
cannot.
me to one time, and I touched his toy like 2 seconds after he asked me.
Yeah.
And he was like screaming,
Yeah, he's like, don't touch it!
like my hands up. Trevor's mom, I don't know what I did.
Is that when you came over to play Mario?
No, this was way long ago. Like,
Was it?
This was. It might have been before Haley was alive.
Oh, real.
It was really
real.
long
Don't say it like
ago.
that.
Well, no, before she was born.
Before she was born.
Before
Conceived.
Before she was summoned.
conceived. Well, no, that's even worse.
Yeah, we're talking about Trevor's mom here.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry.
But my mom does listen to the podcast, so
Shout out to you. I'm
shout
not
out
going to
to
say your
you.
name.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say your name,
Shout out
but
to you.
I
We
love you.
We all actually
She-
love you so much.
She has been waiting for me to say that story about the screw. Every time she's like, "Are you gonna talk about it? Are you gonna talk about it?" I'm like,
It's a good story.
It's not natural. I need to bring it up." But since we were talking about it,
Yeah, you're my second mom.
yeah, literally,
And
you're a
our-
second mom
our
to a
mom-
lot of people.
Our moms are friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're a second mom to a lot of people. You're amazing.
Trevor and I did a double
We did, yeah.
She's-
Mother's
mom-
Day, Mother's Day,
Mother's Day.
Oh, I remember
That's
that. I was
actually-
working.
Yeah, you were
That's actually
working.
awesome.
And you were
Yeah.
like, "Do you really want a brownie?" And I was like, "No, please. Tyson's fucking stupid. Please
Um,
don't."
Your mom has done many therapy sessions with your friends.
Many.
She's awesome. She's great.
She's been through a lot too. Genuine to God, like just the life that she's had to live. Not even just regarding me, just in the past, dude. Like the fact that she's as sweet as she is,
She's a real
I-
one.
love her so much. And I hope she's crying right now.
Huh.
That's my goal. I hope she's crying right now. I hope that she's texting me right now, being like, "Oh my god."
So I know we got to splice two sections together. We're at an hour 10, so we're probably close to an hour 30 ish.
Yeah.
So we probably should cut it off here pretty soon.
For sure.
Okay.
That's the end of that. I just wanted to mention that. Oh wait, one more. It was when you when I got my VR, and Haley came up and just grabbed my vape and moved it out of the way so casually. She just like grabbed it, moved it out of the way, and sat up on the bed, like it was like no problem at all. And she kept like moving towards you, or was
yeah.
it Solomon?
So she moved the vape because it was next to me.
Yeah.
And she sat right next to me. I'm like, I need a little personal space here. Like our legs are touching.
Yeah.
And I like scoot over, and she scoots over with me. And then I scoot over some more, and she scoots over again. Like,
Sounds like a little crush.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Adorable.
It's so adorable. I love her so much. But
But
we have been talking for a while.
yeah.
Do you guys want to say anything?
You guys got any closing notes?
Yeah, any closing
last
notes?
stories?
I mean, we could do a disclaimer. This
Disclaimer?
episode was a lot of Zaw talk.
Yeah.
This was
Real.
a pretty real talk we've had. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think there was a lot of funny
Covered a lot of
moments.
subjects that all
Covered a-
kind of
yeah.
connected to each other somehow.
Yeah. Somehow, some way we connected all of these.
I mean, I got a rabbit hole for
that a
like the
dog?
philosophy
That is a dog.
Of-
That's a dog.
of
God
like
damn
Quiet
it.
down.
what
Quiet
COVID
down,
did
taking
to
a
us,
podcast.
how
Sorry.
this generation is gonna change America type shit.
We,
Like,
we
that's
are,
another time.
We
That's
are
another
ground zero, though. But we can kind of lightly talk about it. We are ground zero for that, for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
They're,
a cool subject for
but-
another episode.
The older generations are not prepared. They did not.
like, the biggest thing is when Fortnite came out. And
What?
was popular. No.
What?
No. Okay, hear me the fuck out. When Fortnite, because that was the first game that genuinely like hit like news, like, oh, my kid's playing Fortnite until 4 a.m. He's gonna die. Like that was just.
Yeah.
They don't understand that Fortnite for us. That was a way for us to hang out.
Yeah, they don't.
Video games are a way for us.
It was
to hang
hard
out
for
when
my
we can't
parents
see each
to
other.
understand that, like,
Yeah.
being online, I'm still talking to you all.
Yeah,
Like, they were
it's-
just like, why don't you just
we're-
go to their house? I'm
we're
like,
not
"Well,
just
we wanna
rotting away
play
in our
this
rooms.
with each
We're-
other.
We're having fun with our friends.
Yeah,
It's just through a virtual space.
yeah.
It's like that World of Warcraft episode of South Park where he's like,
Yeah.
"Why don't you go outside?" And he's like, "Why don't you go socialize?" And he's like, "I am artard."
The fucking mom, and he fucking shits on the pan that she comes and fucking holds her.
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea. Mom. But
All right. I think with that, I'm gonna close it off.
close out the books.
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
Success.
Twas.
Good pod. All
Good
right.
pod.
Chunky Cheese 919.
Yeah.
Peace.
Love
Shouts
it.
to you, Solomon.